All right. So, I'm back, and I am getting ready to show you guys the process I go through in getting my fish ready to cook, okay? So I'm gonna show you a couple of things before we get started. Again, have sharp knives. Always keep a sharp knife. I don't do dull knives. That's not my cup of tea. It's not my 14. I'll just watch the big knives go to work. Now it's time for these two knives to go to work. But you just seen this one. Now it's time to see this one. Okay. But so on this fillet here, all of this right here, if you ever seen it, this white, gray, silver stuff on here, this stuff is not good. This is silver skin. This is fat. This is silver skin and fat. And underneath this silver skin and fat, there's a bloodline that goes right down the center of that fish. Okay, right down the center of that fillet, there's a bloodline. So what you want to do, I don't know how good this close focus is going to be, but what you want to do is get right up underneath this and trim all this off. All right, I'm going to try and get there a little bit closer so you can see. You want to get all of this off, okay? Trim all that off. Once you trim that off, then there's going to be that bloodline that's going to be down there in the middle. I'm going to show you that once I take this part off. But you don't want to eat this. This is silver skin. Look at that. That's silver skin and fat. You don't want to eat that. That's what make your fish taste gross. That's what make your fish taste fishy, like mud and like this or like that, or elephant's butt or whatever else you want to say. That's what make your fish taste like that. I'm about to show you. All right? Me, Big Country, Eugene Woods, Curtis Woods, Hawk Damn Goat Rider, the BMF. You know what the BMF stand for, right? But whatever you know me as, whatever you call me, I'm about to show you how to make your catfish taste good. This is where it starts, not in the kitchen, all right? This is where it starts, not that part right there that I showed y'all earlier. This part right here is where it starts, so let's get to work. Lay that fish down flat like this right here, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and go with this knife because it's a little bit more sturdy for what I need it for. This knife here come and play in a little bit. You just get that out the way. What you're gonna do is you're gonna lay that fish down flat. Boom. Gonna get right there, just like that. Yeah. Yeah. Now some people gonna say, oh man, you wasting meat. No, but when you taste that flavor, you gonna understand that meat is not being wasted. Meat is actually being preserved here. I like to be on the edge of my table. I started off too far on the inside of my table. All right, now watch this here. Sometimes you're gonna screw up. I screw up. That's fine. All right, you know what you're doing? You screw up. Cut that off, move that off to the side. Flip that thing back over and go ahead and get the rest of that off. It's all right to screw up. It's all right to screw up. I said ain't nobody perfect. Now, see how much cleaner that is? Now this fillet ain't whole, okay? But all that stuff that you seen is gone. Now this bloodline right here, I'm sorry, oh Lord. This bloodline right here, make your fish taste gross, okay? You wanna get that completely out of your fish. Completely out of your fish. So we're gonna go right here. Lay that piece back down, all right? Now I got a little bone over here, so y'all make sure y'all be feeling for that. I got a little bone right here. Y'all be feeling for that, especially if y'all got kids. You don't want the kids to grab that bone, all right? Get that bone from out of that meat, all right? So what I'm gonna do now, hopefully you can see this in close detail, but I'm gonna come and I'm gonna cut that bloodline right on out of there, boom, on both sides. Boom, just like that. That's trash. Now look at that meat. That meat is just as white. Now mind you, you got some red on there right now, but that's from the blood from earlier. We're gonna wash all that off. All right, I'm gonna show you that in a second. Don't worry about that. That's coming. Now again, remember, y'all remember that water part I was telling y'all about, right? You see this little stuff right here? Get that off your table, man. You don't need that on your table. Get that off your table. Get that off your table. Boom. Now, same thing right here. That bloodline is a little bit heavier right here, right? Knife work was a little sloppy. So you're gonna just go in there from a little bit of an angle. Get that bloodline right on the body there, man. Don't fool with it. Get that bloodline right on the body there. Boom. Look at that. Yeah. Get that from out of there. Get that bloodline from out of there, man. And that right there will prove the difference. This, I highly recommend you try. I don't care how you skin your fish, but this part right here, if you want your fish to taste good, if anybody ever told you your fish tastes like mud or your fish wasn't good or whatever the case may be, however they say it tastes, that right there is what you need to do. Now I'm gonna show it to you a couple more times, but before I do that, I gotta do a little trimming real quick. Excuse me, I gotta get some water over here. Get some water over here. But this is what makes the difference between my catfish and everybody else's catfish. Now, and let me explain this here to you right now, before I even get started. You go to some places, and when you get the smaller catfish like these right here, you might be able to pull that off. You get some of these, you might be able to pull that off. But again, if you ever get that fish and it's fried, and you see that little silvery gray stuff on that fish, it's all right here, baby. That's what you're eating right there, that silvery gray stuff. But if you got your catfish fillet this size and you fry it whole, you might be able to pull it off, get that bloodline out in one swipe when you trim it. But if you don't trim it, I got news for you. It ain't gonna taste good. Now, when you got fillets this big, okay, when you got fillets this big, you ain't frying that fillet whole. If you fry that fillet whole, this part's gonna be done, and all of this back here is gonna be mushy as hell on the inside, because this meat is like that thick. That's almost, I don't know, 1.5 inches thick. That thick. You ain't gonna get that meat to fry all the way through consistently. All right? So, with that being said, bust that down, boom. Trim that thing about the size of your thumb. About the size of your thumb. Now you're gonna get fish that's gonna fry evenly and taste good. Now you can call these strips, you can bust them down to nuggets if you wanna, look, you wanna differentiate your size, orientation or whatever, give your fish fry a little variety. Again, just make sure your cuts are consistent, about the size of your thumb. Just like that. You're gonna have a few larger pieces. You feel me? Look, my baby boy to come out here. I'm sorry, my oldest son to come out here. All right? Boom, just like that. Just like that. Trim that fish up, nice and good. They love it. They love it. Tell them you love it. You ain't gotta lie to them if you don't love it, but you know, trim that fish up about the size of your thumb. About the size of your thumb. That way you're gonna have a nice even fry when you fry that up. All right, you're gonna take that right there. You're gonna just dump that off in the water right there. Grab that piece, grab a couple pieces right there that just fell. All right, and it's done like that. I'm gonna show y'all this again. I want y'all to pay attention. Put it in there. All that gotta get washed, put it in there. That ain't bad meat. I'm gonna show y'all this again. All right, I'm gonna see if I can move this in front of me now. See if I can get right on top of it. See if I can get right on top of it. I don't know how well it's gonna be on a closer angle, but let's see. Let's see. All right. Boom. Get your fish laid out nice and clean. Get that knife right above that silver skin, that fat cap, whatever you want to call it. Keep that knife up in between that. All right. Like I said, you want to have a sharp knife. You have a dull knife, you're going to struggle with this. See, I struggled with that. I definitely need to go and sharpen my knife. That's the second time I did that. And one trimming. I shouldn't have did that twice. Once is okay. twice is not. I'm gonna have to do this a third time just to make sure I can show y'all this. All right, did you eat breakfast? Did Carter eat breakfast? All right, tell him he needs to go and eat breakfast. All right. Now, again, you see these bloodlines, and I mean, they can get out of hand sometimes, but we're gonna work with it. Watch this here. Angle that knife in there like that. Get that piece of filet off. Angle that knife in from the other side. Get that filet off. Get that bloodline from out of there. Okay? Get that bloodline from out of that fish. That's trash. All right? I got a little piece right there. Get that bloodline from out of that fish. That's gonna make your fish taste a whole hell of a lot better. Simple as that, man. It's as simple as that. Trim your fish up like that, man, and I promise you, if you've never done that before, if you've never had fish trimmed up like that, I promise you trim your fish up like that, whatever you do, beer batter, fish fry, I promise you, your fish is gonna be 10 times better than it's ever been before. The more you do it, the better you're gonna get. You take your time, you trim it, and I'll be back with y'all once I get this pile completely done, and I'll show y'all how to wash it. I'll show y'all some of the stuff I've learned with washing fish. It's just another step to get your fish clean, to get your fish tasting clean. It's just a little process. You go through it, I promise you, you won't be upset. I'll be back.